Good morning, everyone. This is Kendall Askins, Stimulating Minds. Askins stimulates on all of our social media platforms, joining you another Friday with another Rethinking Math. And today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that is very, very popular and seems to divide our old school way of thinking and our new school way of thinking. And it is the use of calculators. So I have sat in so many meetings and talked to so many people, parents, teachers, just people in general that I come across who feel very strongly that part of the reason why we have such low math proficiency is because students don't have basic math fluency. And for those that don't know what that means, it's just like your basic addition facts, multiplication facts, right? When I was younger, I remember they really would try to make us memorize our times table up to like the 12s and things like that. And now in our new curriculum and with the new standards, that's not required, right? There are things where students are being tested on their fluency, but it's not necessarily a part of like standards. It's really based with different schools, and it's to help students practice. And so I have spoken to many parents that feel very strongly, like even when we allow accommodations for students to use calculators, they get very upset, like, no, they need to know this. Some parents get upset that children are counting on their fingers, things like that. And so for me, this brings me back to a moment, like even current, my own learning, myself as a learner, right? And when I think about myself as a learner, I do not do well with memorization, like at all, right? If you like in history and stuff where they're pouring all those facts in there, I'm like, I can't remember it, right? Because I'm a person that interacts and has to understand. I work well with concepts, right? So if I can understand the concept, I understand the story, then I'm going to remember what it is. But if you're just giving me a bunch of facts and you want me to remember those facts, I'm not your girl, right? There are people out there like that. And so when this relates to mathematics, it's the same concept, right? There's times that I'm still counting on my fingers to double check something, right? I might know how to do it several different ways, but sometimes the fastest way is to just count on your fingers. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather my students know that 7 times 6 means adding 7 6 times, or adding 6 7 times, right? Then I care if they know automatically that it's 42, because they're going to encounter it enough where they will eventually remember. And if they don't, so what? They can put 7 times 6 in the calculator, because the truth is they have access to the resource. So what's more important is that they really understand what 7 times 6 is, rather than getting caught up as if, when they put it in the calculator. So for me, I think that it's really important, because sometimes that smaller skill is needed for a much larger concept, right? And I'd rather my students be able to dissect and go through a much larger concept and understand in this concept, I need to be able to multiply, right? Even if they don't know that multiplication off the top of their head. And so it's super important that we make sure that we're allowing students to utilize the tools that are in front of them, and that we're not just getting caught up with our own beliefs, or just because we had to do something a certain way. I guarantee you that a student using a calculator to figure out a simple multiplication problem is not what is causing the decrease in the math proficiency. And so as we continue to rethink our thinking, right, rethink mathematics, teaching and learning, it is really important that we open up our minds to these new things and understand that we have these tools and we have access to these things for a reason. And so it's important that we're teaching concepts versus procedure. So let's not hold our kids back any longer. Yes, we want to make sure that they understand the skill Absolutely, I want my children to understand the multiplication. Absolutely, it might make it a little bit easier for them, but it is not going to decrease their proficiency. Children master things at different times. Sometimes it might take years from them to remember those multiplication facts. So are you going to hold them back from other higher level concepts because it took a few years for them? No, you're going to let them use the tool and the resource so that then they can continue their learning, and then they'll be able to reinforce those other skills, as they go. So let's hear your thoughts. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you had that experience? I would love to hear from you. Drop your comments, like, subscribe. Make sure you share this video out if it resonated with you, and I'll see you guys back here next week for more fun. Bye.